Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Allotment Dram. This is a series of short videos where we sit and talk about different whiskies in the surroundings of our North London allotment. You join me here today on what's been slightly overcast, sort of cloudy, quite muggy, sort of humid sort of day. Sun's out now, but there's been two or three quite heavy showers, so I'm hoping that I get through the next few minutes without getting one of those other downpours. It looks quite clear over that direction where it's been coming from, so fingers crossed. But I've also been picking a few things, predominantly some herbs, so quite a lot of oregano and rosemary actually, and just try those out when we get home, use them in like a nice herb mix. And also the garlics. I mean, look at these, I'm very pleased with these. Sort of purple garlic there. Sort of 4 there, but there's about 30 of them in total, and it basically keeps us in garlic until we get to almost this time next year. I think this year's ran out in about April sort of time, so yeah, we won't be buying any garlic for several months, let's say. But while that's all very interesting, I'm sure most of you didn't tune in to listen to the weather reports or about garlic or herbs. Of course you tuned in to hear about whiskey, and what is the Allotment Dram today, I hear you ask. Well, it's a limited edition, and a bottle that was quite difficult to get actually. It's from London. It's the Bimber, the first peated. So this is just one of 1,140 bottles which came via a ballot in November or December time last year, so very fortunate to have a bottle with us. And it's the first ever peated or truly peated spirit single malt from Bimber. In the past they've done the Isla cask, where they've matured in a cask that's had a smoky Isla single malt in before, but this is the first ever truly peated single malt, so called the first peated. And this is made up actually from 4 ex-bourbon barrels that came from the first ever run of peated whiskey that they did at Bimber. And this was in May 2019, so if you work out, it came out in December last year. It's about 3.5 years old, what's in the bottle there. But yeah, just these 4 ex-bourbon casks, and that's what's made up these 1,140 bottles. And it's bottled at its strength of 54.1, and came in around 100, I think it was 130 pounds, sort of via this ballot. It's now much more expensive than that if you find it on sort of auctions or secondary sites. Almost treble 3-4 times the price. So but whiskey's for drinking, that's what I believe, so we open the bottle and here we are talking to you about it. But what's special also about this is that rather than Bimber just buying in some peated malt from somewhere, they actually did it all themselves. So the founder, a guy called Dariusz Plezewski, apologies to any Polish people watching this for my pronunciation, but Dariusz Plezewski, he was the founder. He founded Bimber in 2015 out in West London, sort of Acton, Greenford sort of area, so out towards like Heathrow Airport, that sort of direction. But he decided that he didn't just want to buy in peated barley from somewhere, so he malted it himself, actually in his cellar. So over the week he went down and was basically sort of turning this barley over like every couple of hours, day and night. So this is where you see you see a lot of artisan producers or craft distillers say, oh yeah, it's really handcrafted and we're very passionate about it. But this really is, because for several weeks he was doing this every 2 hours in his basement to produce the malted barley. So then what he did, he built a sort of smoking kiln at the distillery, and then in small batches basically peated it smoked the barley and dried it out himself with the help of the distillery team. So the peat came from the Highlands, sort of Aberdeenshire, I believe. So it's the soft, gentle style of peat rather than the, the sort of slightly harsher, more acrid, medicinal type of peat that you get from Islay. So yeah, I think we should probably try it, shouldn't we? Very handsome bottle as well, this sort of smoke grey, sort of black. You can just about see the liquid actually in it. Don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I can just see it here. But yeah, very, very sort of slick, very nice bottle. So let's have a taste. As I say, 54.1%, so we're going to tread a little bit carefully. Lovely sort of golden yellow colour there. Let's pop the lid back on. Definitely don't want to spill any of this, valuable liquid. So let's have a smell and a taste. Oh yeah, quite peaty straight away. Like sort of bonfire embers. Quite ashy. There's a little bit of greenness in there as well, actually. This might sound a little bit strange to say, but there's a slightly sort of pepperminty sort of quality. So there, quite a lot of vanilla as well, and there's a helicopter coming over, so I apologise for the sound of that. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? They're quite sort of like bonfire, ashy embers. A lot of vanilla. There's sort of some honey, golden syrup in there as well. Also some sort of like a caramelised pineapple. It's quite tropical fruit actually. Anyway, let's have a taste. Gosh, yes, quite smoky to start with, even more smoky actually than came through on the nose. Really lots of this sort of bonfire ember, ash, charcoal, quite drying actually, grips. There's a sort of pepperiness too. See, it's quite a youthful whiskey, and it's also quite high strength, so you're going to get this peppery, hot sort of warming quality. Yeah, very drying, but then what happens is quite interesting. The sweetness and the fruitiness come through, quite so quickly after that initial sort of hit of the smoke. So again, you've got vanilla, like a vanilla fudge, toffee. You've got some green apple in there. You've got tropical fruits, like this sort of juicy, ripe tropical fruits. But then there's this sort of bit of like caramelized pineapple. If you have barbecued pineapple and the natural sugars crystallize on the outside, there's a little bit of that as well. And then this sort of ashy, sort of drying quality comes back. And yeah, really interesting. Yeah, really interesting actually. I'm going to have another taste. Let's do that. I have to say, it's quite drinkable for 54.1%. It's on the borderline of where I would be tempted to put some water in. But it's very nice, this crisp green apple, these juicy tropical fruits, this sort of bonfire charcoaly thing. There's another dimension coming through now that's a bit more, maybe it's this sort of Highland peat influence, but it's almost like a bit of dried heather or lavender or something in there, something quite floral but dried, so it's got that slightly sort of dustier quality. But yeah, what a treat. So glad to score a bottle. Really, really pleased. When there's only 1,140, and I'm sure many people that got theirs have sold them and made quite a lot of money. But as we say, whiskey is for drinking. So that's what we're doing. So I think that's probably about it. From myself and the Bimber, the first peated. we will leave you to get on with doing whatever you were doing before you stumbled across this video. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the Bimber and the first Peated, and thanks for watching, and we hope to see you for another allotment dram very soon. Cheers!